Today we're going to talk about homeschool groups and co-ops. Are they worth the time? Well, first let's start by giving a definition. Homeschool groups come in many forms. Sometimes they're just mom support groups, and that's all it is. It's just for moms. Sometimes it's just a children's play group or field trip group. Sometimes it's both of those put together. Sometimes it's just a discount group where you can buy your curriculum as a discount. Groups are different than co-ops. Co-ops are a group of homeschool families that join together to share in the education of their children. So you're actually doing some teaching with a co-op more than what you would with a homeschool group. Now I should come back and say homeschool groups can have co-ops, but they are actually two different things. Let's look at homeschool groups a little closer. They may revolve around a belief. For example, you could have a Catholic homeschool group, or a Christian homeschool group, or a secular homeschool group. It could revolve around a homeschool method or curriculum. You could have a Charlotte Mason homeschool group, or a classical homeschool group, or a Bob Jones homeschool group. It may revolve around a geographic area. If you live in a more rural area or smaller towns, it may be that you only have one or two groups to choose from because that's all that your area supports. So it may be that you have a group that's just in because of your geographic location. And even in the larger cities, sometimes you may have like a South Atlanta group versus a North Atlanta group. So you can have some geographical differences there as well. Usually homeschool groups can be found by networking or by an internet search. I've got a link for you here in just a minute. But a lot of times it's by word of mouth. You may run across a homeschooler who knows of a group and can get you connected that way. If you don't know someone else in your area homeschooling, by all means do an internet search and see what you can find. If you get into a homeschool group and you're just finding that it's not a good fit for you or for your family, or your child is for whatever reason having difficulty in that group, don't feel like you have to stay in that group for the whole school year. If you love that group, great, go for it. But just don't feel confined that you have to finish out a school year if it's not working for you. And here's that link I mentioned, home-school.com/groups. And that's there are many websites out there to find groups, but this is one that will get you started. All right, let's look at co-ops then. Co-ops are a little bit different. They provide socialization. Now, a homeschool group may provide socialization as well, but the nice thing about a homeschool co-op is that your child is getting to see a classroom environment and does provide some socialization within that context. A homeschool co-op can share expenses and equipment. For example, if you did a science homeschool co-op and your co-op owned a microscope or a set of test tubes and chemicals or whatever, you can share the expenses there. Usually a homeschool co-op is going to offer the difficult classes to teach at home, which could be science projects, art, chemistry, sometimes a writing class. It's just things that you wouldn't necessarily do because that's not your area of expertise, or you just don't feel comfortable teaching that class. One that I was involved with, we did elementary science projects. And we did stuff that I never would have done at home. We did owl pellets, we did solar ovens, we had a blast. It was a lot of fun, but a lot of those things, I never would have even thought to have done them at home. And so it was nice to have a group of kids to be able to buy the kits for the different experiments in bulk and get better pricing. And so, all the way around, it was a win-win for us. Usually the co-ops meet once a week. So you're looking at one day a week. That can be for a 6-week period, which is what we did with our science projects. It can be a semester. It could be a whole school year. So if you decide to start one, or if you're looking for one, be sure and understand what kind of commitment you're making. It may cost some money. If those expenses are being shared, then you'll have to pay in to cover those kind of expenses. So also figure that when you're figuring out your budget for your homeschool year. Don't expect to drop your child off. You may have to be a teacher if you have several classes offered, or if the teaching of the class rotates around. We did a geography class where we studied some different countries and then did a crafts project from that country, and the moms took turns teaching that class. So generally, co-ops, you're going to have to participate too. That's the whole point of cooperating. It's not a drop-off. And I would encourage you, especially if you're looking at starting a homeschool co-op, leadership needs to be shared, because burnout is a big issue if you've got the same people putting it together every single semester. It's a lot of work to put that together, to order the stuff, to make sure everything's lined up and they're on time, to find a place. There are a lot of details, and it takes a lot of effort to be able to pull that off. So be sure and rotate out some of those responsibilities and share them well. Don't let 1 or 2 people head up the whole thing, because it is a lot of work. So they're going to burn out if you don't share that responsibility. So keep that in mind. Here's a link to get a great book. It's called Homeschool Co-ops: How to Start Them, Run Them, and Not Burn Out. And if you are thinking of starting a homeschool co-op in your area, please get this book. It will help you tremendously. I just can't say enough about that book. So, a couple final thoughts here. Do you need a group or co-op? No, not really. You can homeschool without it. But a group can be a good sounding board and support system for you. And a good group of kids for your child to be around. A co-op can help with difficult classes. So consider what your needs are and what you're trying to accomplish with your homeschooling, and it may be a really good fit for you. So find one or start one and then go for it. Hope you enjoyed this video. We'll have one more in our series, and we'll catch you on the next one.